Hollywood had a, to put it politely, very weird year in 2023. With prolonged writers and actors strikes, tentpole films underperforming, mergers and acquisitions, the streaming wars racking up billions of dollars in losses, where can we find a little hope for the future of the film industry? As it turns out, a little ski town just outside of Salt Lake City provides exactly that every January. We went to the Sundance Film Festival again this year, and in one of the murkiest times in recent showbiz memory, we talked to several of the festival's filmmakers and a senior programmer about why film festivals are still a key part of the ecosystem and how they might be even more important moving forward. There is, of course, the excitement of just being there.
I keep saying it's like meeting a celebrity when you're like, you've only heard or like seen pictures of it, and then you're here and you're like, oh my God, I recognize that theater.
Right. And all the hoping that your film plays well and gets picked up.
I'm really excited for what's going to happen with the movie.
Definitely worth the ticket price. Go see it.
There's also the freedom that independent film provides.
I think it's time to just do whatever the you want and be radical.
But why Sundance is still important to the film industry, for me, boils down to a few specific points. To start with, it's all about identifying trends. For a film to be successful, not only does the audience need to be interested in seeing it, but obviously the filmmakers need to be invested in the story as well. According to John Nine, senior programmer and director of strategic initiatives at Sundance, an estimated 17,000 films were submitted to the festival.
If you count short films and features, it was a record-breaking number.
The question of identifying larger trends in the industry based on 17,000 submissions to Sundance may seem like a chicken or the egg scenario. Is the trend factoring into the festival's programming, or is the festival leaning into something it likes with its programming, therefore creating a trend?
You know, it wasn't a conscious choice to lean in, and in fact, had you seen the vast pool from which we were drawing, it may not even feel like leaning in. It just is that is a reality of what's being made right now.
And so, at a festival designed to showcase films to potential buyers, those buyers get a sample of what sort of films are actually being produced and, more importantly, how an audience receives it. Kelly O'Sullivan, writer and co-director of the incredibly charming Ghostlight, a film about trauma and the healing power of community theater, described her experience with the film at Sundance as a connection.
That's what we felt getting to see this movie with audiences is the amount that people come up to us afterwards and tell us what the film means to them and personal experiences. People will share their personal experiences. And you don't get that when you're watching a movie at home on your laptop by yourself.
Kelly's co-director on Ghostlight, Alex Thompson, sees the connection with the audience as not only validation for their own art, but a degree of credibility that only comes with the big screen.
Sundance gives context to a film that could be seen as small. It makes something very independent feel like it justifies a theater and an audience, and that gift keeps on giving for a film like this. You know, that's a message from the gatekeepers here to the buyers and the distributors and the audiences out in the country and the world, that this film deserves a life beyond, you know, a screen or link. For the actual independents, we need places that are saying, hey, come check this out. This is big. It feels small, but it's big. And we saw it first. That's pretty powerful. That's a huge gift.
This is how it's always been at Sundance. That powerful, huge gift Alex Thompson mentions is one of the reasons Sundance is on its 40th edition, and seen as one of, if not the most important festival in the world. A place for studios to find the next big thing, based on trends that might not be readily apparent to the industry otherwise. That takes care of the past and present, but what about the future? Film festivals, in general, are about the newest stuff around. Take, for example, this year's Pony Boy, a film written, produced, and starring River Gallo, an intersex filmmaker using familiar gangster movie tropes to, as they put it, serve the audience some vegetables along with their dessert.
I think people are hungry, thirsty for the unexpected, for the weird, for the things that they haven't seen before. I feel like some of the most successful films this year were the films that, you know, were very subversive and controversial. And I feel strongly that this movie also walks that line of being unconventional and unusual, but also very familiar and heartwarming. And just a really wild ride in New Jersey. So
The film's director, Esteban Arango, agrees and sees a future of film defined by boundary-pushing cinema, particularly in light of the stale environment in Hollywood at the moment.
I think Sundance is instrumental for our industry. I mean, they've always been at the cutting edge of, creating that taste. And I feel that people are getting tired of more of the same. We need a palate cleanser. And that always comes out of these places, independent filmmaking, people taking risks for new kinds of stories. So I think that going through the wave of weirdness that we're going through is just gonna blow over, and then we're gonna find new voices, new opportunities to tell new stories with diverse perspectives, and change the game. It's always evolving, and it always starts in places like this.
But while we're talking about the future, let's get futuristic. Sundance documentary Eternal You deals with the emerging industry of digital immortality and how it impacts our capacity to grieve the loss of our loved ones. AI, of course, has played an enormous role in the industry in recent years, becoming something of a focal point in labor negotiations with both the striking actors and writers in 2023. Filmmakers Hans Block and Moritz Riesewick pointed out Sundance's importance moving forward as it relates to the inevitable growth of AI in the industry.
Highlighting the very quality of human creativity, which actually never will be automized in the same way humans are creative. When we now see or talk about AI being creative, that is just a misleading way of putting it. What it can't imitate is this very unique form of expressing ourselves as humans. And a festival like Sundance actually will be all the more important because it will highlight these very individual, very, very special, very unique forms of creativity, while Hollywood probably will lose a lot of these qualities when they automize all the more parts of the productions.
If the industry has actually lost some of its individuality in recent years, does that necessarily have to be a bad thing? Scott Cummings, director of Realm of Satan, a fascinating piece of slice-of-life nonfiction about Satanists, sees Hollywood's stagnation as a reason to be free. Something that convinced him of this was, strangely enough, a video game.
I played The Last of Us when it came out. And when I played that game, I was like, who the needs to make a normal narrative film after this? This is like watching a great film and being in it, actually. And it's like narrative films can't compete with this, actually. This is a more exciting experience. So I think it's kind of a great time to kind of just do whatever the you want, actually, and to push things and to make things that can't be games, can't be TV, but that and people have to see in the theater.
For what it's worth, if there's ever a movie I've seen that's clearly a filmmaker doing whatever the they want, it's Realm of Satan. And that it found a home at Sundance alongside dramas about community theater in Chicago and intersex crime thrillers and documentaries about AI's role in modern human grief says everything about Sundance. The festival's role has always been to present new and interesting stories from new and interesting filmmakers. And hopefully that won't ever change. But film festivals as a necessary part of the industry is an easy to overlook part of Sundance. The business is, of course, cyclical on its own, like anything else. Audiences get tired of the haze code and glitzy musicals? No problem. Here come the new Hollywood auteurs. Tired of the muscle-bound action heroes of the 80s? Can we offer you a Michael Keaton in a rubber suit? And now, massive CGI spectacle and shared universes seem to be running out of steam in the same way. Whether or not any movie at Sundance is an indicator of what's next in the business, the festival seems to take its responsibility to the industry seriously. And with that, we'll let our pal, longtime festival programmer John Nine, take us home.
I've been here for long enough to see the ups and downs of the industry and to see other moments where we've had challenging circumstances. We certainly do at this time as well for a lot of different reasons. But maybe the sort of brightest beacon is that we have always known that there is a connection between artist and audience that is so clear at this festival, the way that the films are being received, the enthusiasm that there is for them. To me, it is an indicator that at the fundamental level, there is an appetite for these films. There is a deep desire amongst audiences to hear personal stories, independent stories, the kinds of creativity and innovation and pushing the form that we, put a showcase together at the festival. That's what we believe in.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to let us know what you think of film festivals in the comments below, and don't forget to check out the rest of our Sundance 2024 coverage with IGN, and of course, right here on CineFix.